What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Highlight Reel. So, this is the second episode of this podcast now, and it has been, I think, around 4 years since the first episode. So, just to give a little bit of context here, the Highlight Reel was essentially the idea I had for my own solo podcast that I started during the pandemic. It was an idea that I had that I really liked, that I sort of got off the ground during the pandemic, but I didn't end up carrying on with it because at the time we were doing the Wavelengths podcast, and between making all my own content and then also producing that podcast all on my own time, it was kind of just a lot to deal with, so I didn't end up continuing it. Plus, the landscape has kind of shifted numerous times over the past few years in terms of what we are doing and what we thought we would be doing. And yeah, so it's just something that I really enjoyed the idea of, but I never got around to doing more of. So essentially, here we are 4 years later, just carrying on and picking it right back up again. Like I said, it's an idea that I really liked. I think it's sort of a chill way for us to sit here and be able to talk about some stuff and reflect about some stuff and maybe share some stuff, whether it be good or bad, just with what's going on. And a little bit more of a chill, slow paced, more personal thing where I can talk to y'all. So the first episode also I did live. I did live on Twitch, and we had a little bit of chat interaction, and I think we did a Q&A at the end, which I think is probably something I would like to get back to in time. At the moment, I'm just recording this on my own. But I think in time, I think it would be cool to get back to doing the show live and making it a fun part of our week. But we'll see. Until then, we'll probably just be rocking like this. For those of you watching on YouTube, this is available elsewhere as well. I have it set up to go out. It should be at least on Spotify, through their podcast thing, and as well, I think it should be on Apple Podcasts. But I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully, I'll have that all set up by the time this goes out. But yeah, that sort of leads me into the next thing that I want to talk about, which was sort of I want to get on a schedule with my content. This is something I'm not going to spend too much time talking about because I want to. There is some other stuff that I want to get to today. But I've been talking about a little bit on my stream, which, by the way, go follow me on Twitch. We've been streaming every single day. It's been great over there. But it's something I've been talking about on stream as well as in my last couple of videos and Zero to Heroes and stuff, is I want to get on a bit of a schedule and have, I think, just more consistent releases around my stuff. I think that's sort of the next logical evolution of my stuff. I think over the years, since I've started doing content consistently, I've been making stuff forever, but since I really started doing it consistently, which was probably like 2015 or so, I think there's been a decent amount of progression and evolution from myself, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better at doing the thing, whatever the thing is at the time. And I think a lot of I'm appreciative that I got into it so young, because I'm only 24 now, and I feel like I've learned so much and grown so much, and taught myself so many different things. But point being is that I feel like the next sort of logical progression of my content is to get on a schedule and have timed and consistent releases. And basically just what I mean when I say that is, like, for instance, I want this podcast to go out every single week on a certain day. I want an episode of Zero to Hero to go out every single week on a certain day, and an episode of the VOD review stuff, which we'll talk more about as well. Just with the stuff, the people that I've been watching, my personal inspirations, and also with just the sort of state of things at the moment, I think that would be the best thing for everybody, because I enjoy, like, I'm proud of how consistent I am, especially, through the highs and the lows that we've had with Halo. I'm proud of how consistent I've been with making stuff, and how we haven't had super long gaps in between things. I'm pretty proud of the effort that I've put in, and the work that we've done. But also, I think I could be doing more, like, as opposed to, like, just putting up a video every other day. I think it would be cool to, like, because obviously it's cool for me to know when I have to make things and when things need to go out, but also, like, for the viewer as well, being able to know like, all right, if I want to watch Zero to Hero, it comes out every Sunday at 9 a.m. Central, which is probably the time that we're gonna experiment with for the moment. Um, but yeah, I just think that's the next sort of logical progression for me as a creator, is to do things like that. To, it's called a YouTube channel, and sort of the mindset that I've trying to, been able to, or trying to shift myself into, I guess I should say, is like to run it as if it's like a TV channel. And for the longest time in my head, YouTube has always just been like this other social media platform, and it's just a thing where people put gameplay and like, I don't know, just like the process and the science of it all hadn't really clicked in my head until a couple years ago, whenever I probably about the time I joined HCS Grassroots and started really taking it seriously. Um, but yeah, that's kind of all I'll say on that. For the moment, I'm just going to kind of experiment with that formula, and I've talked about it a little bit, like I said, in my videos and on my streams and stuff, and hopefully that'll be a cool thing going forward. So this is hopefully the first of the weekly releases of the podcast that you guys will see or listen to. Which, by the way, I said it a minute ago, but go check it out. There should be a link in the description for the podcast link, which I think it's through Spotify for podcasters, I think. So that'll take you to a link which will either send you to the Spotify page if you want to listen there, or Apple Podcasts or whatever else. So if you want to be able to listen to the show, and not just watch it on YouTube, there are options for that as well. But yeah, I guess with all that kind of out of the way, what I want to start this episode with is probably just like the state of the union in general. We can just kind of talk about what's going on at the moment in the community. And I think this is probably something that we can start every episode with. But just in general, like what's going on with us and content and with the game, and like specifically like at the moment, we're in the beginning of it's April 8th as I'm recording this. You guys are probably gonna be watching and listening to this on the 9th. But at the moment, we just had the networking update for Halo, which was, I guess, was probably a week and a half or 2 weeks ago at this point, which has that included the weapon tuning, and chief among all those things was the anti-cheat they included, which is apparently, I don't know if this is for sure or not, but I think it's similar to like what's used on MCC, which has been around for a few years. But essentially, as soon as they put that anti-cheat into place, which a lot of people were hoping for, because we've been wanting these fixes for desync and cheating and all kinds of things in Infinite for years at this point, it seems to have the dam seems to have completely broken, and cheating seems to be completely rampant on the game since that update, which has been very unfortunate to see. And even I myself, like, I played a few games to record some videos a few days ago, but aside from that, like, I really have not played any Infinite in like a week or more, probably closer to like a week and a half at this point, because their matchmaking is completely infested with cheaters, and there's even people going as far as to change their names to impersonate and spoof as streamers and content creators and known players and personalities throughout the scene. And so people are cheating and also intentionally trying to give others a bad name. And there's a whole lot going on there, which is very unfortunate. And it's made the playing experience, specifically, I think, for higher ranked players, very tough, because that seems to be where most of the cheaters end up. But also, like, it's rampant enough to where I'm seeing it in squad battle and husky raid and like all over the place. And unfortunately, man, like if you go on Twitter, like that's all you're gonna see. And I don't know, man. I hope that can get ironed out and fixed soon. I don't really know if I have anything to add other than that, because I am not any form of software engineer or game developer. I don't know what all goes into those issues or what needs to be fixed there. But it just sucks to see. And at the moment, the landscape for the community is very, or not the landscape. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. But at the moment things are a little turbulent. Things are a little rocky. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Um, and it's not like that's a new thing for the Halo community. You know, we've had several ups and several 100,000 downs, I would say, over the past few years. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know what's next. I will say one of the things that I have been very uh feeling very positive about and very excited about and have lots of good things to talk about with is Grassroots. I feel like with HCS Grassroots, it started a little bit last year, but also more so at the beginning of this year. We've really sort of hit our stride with community activations and um, community involvement and just doing things. This is sort of impromptu. I'm actually going to pull up while we're sitting here the calendar for this month of April here in HCS, just as an example for this. So, okay, pulling this up, and I'll try to show a screenshot of it if you're watching this on YouTube. But just pulling up this screenshot of this calendar, like this calendar is completely packed full of all kinds of different events for Halo. There is competitive stuff, there is social stuff, there is custom games and community activations. There's Forge stuff, there is all kinds of stuff. There's tournaments. And also for myself personally, we are involved in several play dates. Just counting off the top here, 1, 2, 3. Let me see what else. 4, 5. There's like 5 or 6 things that I'm involved in this month, which if you go back to, I mean, like 2022 is really what I look back on as like the darkest of the dark times when it comes to being a Halo fan. Because if you guys remember, like even the times like 2019 to 2020, like even during the pandemic when we were still stuck on Halo 5, like there was still a decent community. There was still a bunch of people playing the game. Like the community was still very involved and active. And I felt like after Infinite released at the end of 21 and then going into 2022, there was just kind of nothing for the longest time. That's what I remember as, you know, 3-4 month gaps between tournaments and absolutely nothing going on. There were like 5 playlists in the game at the time. And I remember getting on and playing for a couple hours a day because I try to make myself stream every day. So I remember getting on every single day and playing ranked and Super Fiesta by myself, doing nothing else. And to have reached the point where we are now, where we go to the LAN events and we are able to participate at the LAN events, whether it's by streaming or playing in the show matches, or even looking at this Grassroots calendar and just all the different activations and play dates and events that we have planned. And like I'm involved with, I'm pretty proud of myself as well for even sort of getting outside my comfort zone a little bit, because obviously y'all know we're kind of the sweaty arena side of things when it comes to Halo. Like we're more focused on the competitive stuff, but like we have plans for social play dates. You know, I've been playing BTB stuff, I've been playing firefight stuff, we've been playing campaign play dates, which I think that's probably been the number one thing that I've been enjoying the most, is that we've been doing playthroughs of the legendary campaigns on Twitch, which we ran through Halo 2 on Legendary, Jeremy Stress and I, because that one's only 2-player. But we did ODST with myself, Ubernick, Eli X, and Jeremy Stress. Coming up, actually the day that this goes live, I believe we are playing the Halo 3 Legendary campaign with that same crew. But yeah, I've been enjoying that a ton. So I'll have to say, like, number one thing, like biggest change from a couple years ago, is just the amount and consistency of stuff. And like I just named off a bunch of stuff that I'm involved in. Like I'm involved in like 5 or 6 different activations this month, but aside from that, there's something like every single day. Like I'm looking at this calendar, there's BTB events, there's legendary campaigns, there's ladies night stuff, which by the way, shout out to the ladies of Halo. I believe their thing is Women of Halo on Twitter. They've been doing a ton of stuff for the women's scene in Halo. But I'm also looking at, yeah, there's classic maps, there's tournaments, there's squad battle stuff, there's stuff for the European scene, there's stuff for the LATAM scene. Like just the amount of stuff is just is very encouraging to see. And like if nothing else, I think Halo has proven like the community is extremely tight knit. The community is extremely strong. The community will most of the time, I think, always persevere through what could be considered like the tough times in Halo. And so I just wanted to touch on that because just being a part of the Grassroots program for the past couple of years, I feel like HCS Grassroots has sort of gained this reputation of like not doing anything, and it's just kind of this club of like content creators that like, I don't know, gatekeeps other people and other things like that, when like in reality, like that's kind of never been the case. Like we've always been like very, I'm trying to think of like the best way to say this, but like it's always been a very like group of friends trying to do cool things in Halo kind of vibe, as opposed to like this, it's not this elite group of content creators, you know what I'm saying? If it was that, I don't think I would be invited, you know what I mean? I'm not necessarily on the level of a lot of these people. But that being said, I'm incredibly thankful to be able to participate in all these community events because, I mean, candidly, and selfishly, it helps me out a ton because we're able to do through HCS and Twitch, we're able to do Twitch drops, which greatly helps with viewership and exposing us to new people, which is super cool. But not only for that, but just also just like having stuff to do because like I was talking about, you know, in 2022, I think about, you know, getting on every single day by myself, no friends, playing like an hour or two of solo queue arena into like some super fiesta and then getting offline and not enjoying it that much. And to go from that to I have plans for every other day and we're able to watch party tournaments and I'm playing in BTB and squad battle events, and we've got for fun tournaments, and I'm playing in, you know, legendary campaign playthroughs and stuff. Which, by the way, I think we'll probably have some YouTube videos out on here in the next few days. I haven't had the chance to put together the one from the ODST campaign, but I think I need to finish editing that soon and get that out. Which Nick made an incredible video on. If you want to go check that out on his channel. But yeah, that's just kind of the general state of the union at the moment. I think there's some good and there's some bad and there's kind of a lot of both at the moment. So things are a little rocky in Halo, which, like I said, when are they not? But you know me, y'all know me at this point. I'm gonna continue to remain positive and just try to keep doing my thing and keep making cool stuff and evolve with the times, which is kind of like what we're talking about here. And keep changing and making cool stuff, because ultimately, like, I just enjoy the process and I enjoy the community and I enjoy making stuff and being creative. And Halo will always be my favorite game. And a lot of people say like, oh, even if like this Halo is shit, which for the record, like, I do enjoy Infinite. It's not my favorite Halo by any means, but I do enjoy it. It's not the worst game in the world. But people always say like, oh, if you don't like the game, like, just go play something else. But like, for me, Halo will always be it, because even bad Halo is still Halo, you know what I'm saying? And even bad Halo for me is still preferable to a lot of other games. And that's just kind of my take on that. I've kind of mentioned that a little bit over the past few years, but that's just kind of the way I feel about it. We've talked about this before too, but like, Halo's also the only thing that I feel that sort of passion for, in terms of something that, like, because if you're creating content on something, I think that has to be something that you can live with every single day. Like, if you're going to create a YouTube channel or a a live stream uh completely centered around something, I think you have to be in love with that because you have to be married to that thing. Um which isn't the case for everybody cuz like, some people are variety streamers whatever. Um but like for most people, like obviously the path to success is by being focused in one thing. Um oh yeah, sorry. I lost my train of thought for a second there. But I was just saying like that that thing that you create your channel around or your platform around is something that you have to be married to because it's the thing that obviously you're going to spend every single day with recording and editing and uploading and playing and you have to spend so much time with it and for me Halo was always just the only thing that I could ever sort of commit to on that level. um Probably that and then maybe like the Batman Arkham series growing up. uh Probably those are like the only things I could ever see myself consistently living with and making content about. And obviously like the Batman Arkham games aren't a great example either because or aren't a great choice either because though those games are awesome and they're my favorite games ever outside of Halo. Obviously they're not releasing any new ones. Although they did just have that Suicide Squad game come out, so I guess there is stuff to cover in that realm. But obviously that's something that sort of has sporadic releases like Halo as well, and maybe not as much consistency. But yeah, just over the years, like if y'all have been around for a while, then you'll know that we have tried on a couple of different occasions to switch to different games and to try to expand our content into different things. And like if y'all remember from like a few years ago, we got really into like some different battle royale stuff. We got really into PUBG for a minute. We tried to switch to COD a couple different times. But at the end of the day, like especially for me personally, like Halo is that only thing that, like I said, I can really commit to on that level, that I really have that level of passion for, that I can really live with, day after day. And to that point, like the sort of example that I always give people whenever they ask me about it is like it's like if you grow up playing baseball your entire life and then once you reach college you're like, oh, just go play football. And it's like, well, I could do that, but I have grown up playing this game and I've made all my friends through this game and I'm like fully ingrained in this community at this point and it's what I know and it's what I love and it's where I feel comfortable. And so that's kind of where I'm going to stay. So and like I said, I think I mentioned this at least, I don't know. There might be better opportunities like in other things and other places, but I got into this for like the reasons that I started creating content in the first place were because like the people that I watched, like the very early gaming creators of the scene and my early inspirations were like the reasons why I got into it were because like I just saw that and I wanted to imitate what they were doing. They were just playing games and doing commentaries and live commentaries and just it was all gameplay personality focused and I just saw that and I wanted to do it for myself. I thought the concept was fascinating and it was something that really intrigued me and it's something that I wanted to do. And the reasons for me getting into becoming a content creator were no deeper than that. And so to this day, like I still those things are still the things that I want to do. And like if you pay close attention in certain areas, like it should be pretty plain to see, like for instance, like a lot of my early inspirations, like Nadeshot and Scump and watching them like in early, Black Ops 2, watching them do live commentaries and League Play live commentaries and stuff is like a lot of the stuff that I still do, like Zero to Hero, is like very much of that same formula. And it's not super heavily produced like the things of today that you would see. And so I guess the thing for me is like just sort of being able to find that balance between doing what I want to do and what I'm comfortable with, and also trying to evolve with the times and become better at just the craft and the process in general, and evolve my stuff to where it is easier to watch and more entertaining to watch. and also when we're talking about like the consistency and the scheduling part of it, like we were talking about earlier, uh, more consistent and easier to watch, and you know, I don't know. Those are just kind of all the things that are going through my head at the moment. But yeah, the only other things that I have really written down here um, are so I did just want to mention really quickly because I've been getting a bunch of questions about this. Which, by the way, to set the record straight, really quick here, I have no insider knowledge whatsoever. I am a member of the HDS Grassroots team, but I'm just a content creator. They don't be telling us shit. I don't know nothing in advance. I don't know anything about the game or its development or any kind of future content or any type of future plans at all. They don't tell me shit. So that being said, theories for the future of Halo, now that everybody's aware that I have no sort of insider demon voodoo knowledge, a lot of people have been asking me, mostly on Twitch, do you think it's going to be a new Halo soon? Or do you think we're sticking with Infinite for the foreseeable future? Or like, what do we think the vibe is? Because like, whatever Infinite released, I don't know if anybody said this outright, but it was sort of this expectation of like the 10-year plan thing. And I don't know if like it was ever specifically said like, oh, we're going to play this game for like 10 years, but it was sort of pitched as like this live service thing. It's going to constantly get updates and new content and be tweaked and improved over the years. And this is sort of the platform that we're going to be sticking with for the foreseeable future, years into the future, because, you know, it's on the new engine and it should make for really easy hot fixes and content updates and blah, blah, blah. That was the whole thing we got into it thinking. Obviously, fast forward to Infinite has now been out for 2.5 years at this point, right? Something like that. And obviously that has not really been the case. And it's been a little bit of a struggle. And I think obviously given the landscape at the moment where you can pretty clearly see how many players are playing the game and how many players are not playing the game, and also just with all the problems that we've been referencing, like the desync and the cheater issues, like we're only just now resolved 2.5 years into the game. And with the cheater thing, it wasn't even resolved. If anything, it was like a gateway to make it worse. So yeah, at this point, I think just given the landscape and how everything has turned out, I think we are probably headed in the direction of a new Halo game. If I had to guess, I would probably theorize that we would see something about a new Halo game at some point in the next like year and a half or 2 years. I don't think we're going to get a new game. Like, I don't think we're going to get a new game like next year. I think we might get some intel at some point here soon. And then I imagine we're probably headed towards another release, because I think the only way to sort of recapture the attention and the love and the passion of the general gaming community at large is through another release. And I think that's probably what the people at Xbox and Microsoft and 343 are thinking as well. Because obviously, like, you saw how excited, if we just think back to 2014 and when MCC got announced, the amount of hype and excitement that was generated for that, which obviously we know how MCC turned out, and that was a disastrous launch, which drove a lot of players away. But also the hype before Infinite and how it was sort of a return to form, and just the amount of attention that was on the game and how many players were playing at launch and how that was kind of fumbled. Like, I think if the past has proven anything, it's that people are excited for a new Halo release. And I think if their perception and their memory is sort of tainted by Infinite, whether because they heard through word of mouth or because they saw on Twitch or on YouTube or whatever that the game was bad, or because they played it and had a negative experience, I think launching a new game is probably the only way to recapture a lot of that, or a lot of those people. So I think that's probably what we're heading towards. Again, no insider knowledge. That would just be my guess. And if I also had to guess, I would say that we probably won't see the results of that for a minute. So that all remains to be seen. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to talk about in terms of Halo and stuff today. Just to sort of give y'all a general, just to sort of switch topics here and give y'all just a sort of general update on me before we close out the episode. I'm doing pretty well, regardless of how the game or the community's doing. I'm kind of enjoying what I'm doing. The past couple years, I've kind of moved around a lot. I've lived a bunch of different places, and I've kind of been bouncing around a lot and figuring out what I want to do next, as well as sort of trying to stay consistent and figure out how I want to run things on the content front. But I'm doing pretty well as of recent. I've been enjoying some traveling, and I've been enjoying some family, and I've been enjoying hanging out with my friends and watching sports. We are headed towards the NBA playoffs, and also baseball season just got started, so I've got a lot of stuff to watch at the moment, and I'm having a good time, like I said, hanging out with my friends, and we've been enjoying. There have been times when we've been more into it than others, but we have a Discord that me and the bros like to hang out in, where we're in there pretty much every night, playing games and watching movies and watching sports, and everybody's got a stream going, and it's been a pretty good time. So, uh, yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I've been doing pretty well, and I hope y'all have been doing well. Also, definitely let me know, whether it's in the comments of this if you're on YouTube, or if you want to shoot me a tweet or on Discord, a message on Discord or whatever. But let me know how y'all are doing, man. I'm always curious about y'all. Hope y'all are doing great. And anybody who's maybe not doing great, I hope that turns around for you. I hope that improves. Um, but yeah, aside from that, like I said, I mentioned I did just get back from some traveling. I mentioned it a little bit on stream, but I went on a cruise a few weeks ago. We left out of San Juan in Puerto Rico, and so we spent like a day or two there, doing walking tours and experiencing San Juan, and just experiencing the food and getting drinks, and seeing all the different architecture and stuff. And then we left from there on our cruise and went to Barbados and Trinidad and St. Martin and a bunch of different places. Just basically bounced around the Caribbean. Um, did a lot of hanging out with family, did a lot of chilling on the beach and drinking rum punches, and had a lot of really good food, and yeah, it was a great time. It was a great vacation. I'm not gonna lie, it was very long, because I think it was like 9 or 10 days, and so once we get past like the 1 week mark with me, I start to get antsy of like, all right, bro, I gotta get home. Like there's shit I gotta do. Uh, but yeah, definitely enjoyed it. It was great. If y'all saw on Twitter, I put some pictures on Twitter and some on Instagram as well. Um, y'all be sure to go follow me over there for more stuff like that, because I don't know exactly how much travel we have planned for this year. I traveled a good deal last year, obviously for all the tournaments. Um, but so I missed HTS Arlington, which was our opener this year, because it overlapped with my cruise. So unfortunately, I had to miss Arlington. Whatever, couldn't do anything about that. It was a good reason to miss it, because obviously I was on the cruise, so it's a great time. But that was the first event in all of Infinite that I have missed. I've been to every single tournament thus far, with the exception of Anaheim in 2022, because obviously there was nobody at that event. There were no spectators, because that was during COVID. But every single open event that was open to spectators, I have been to since Infinite came out. And Arlington was the very first one that I missed. So I was a little bit bummed about that. But then also, the second event of this year is London, and that's the Quadrant Major. And I would have been able to go to that. I think I probably would have been able to swing it, but they only just announced the dates for the event like a week ago. And at that point, it's like travel has already gotten more expensive, and like I know that's been a common criticism of a lot of the Halo events, is like they won't announce them until it's like right before, which makes travel very difficult, especially for international people. Um so unfortunately for that reason, I will not be able to make London, so I will have to miss the first two events of this season, which fucking sucks. Uh but we'll still be able to I was still able to watch Party Arlington, I'll still be able to watch Party London. We'll still be able to do some content stuff around it, but obviously, like y'all know me, like my favorite thing in the world is to go to the tournaments. I love being there. And obviously the past couple years it's been even more cool because I've been able to participate and I've been able to play on main stage and I've been able to play in the show matches. I've been able to stream from the tournaments. It's been such a great time. So now it's like anytime I miss one now it's like double fuck. You know what I mean? Uh but that being said, the rest of the tournaments for this season are, I believe we have Atlanta, which is the phase major, and that's in June, I believe, or July, which we don't have the specific dates for again, which fucking sucks. Very annoying. But obviously, I understand they're probably trying to iron some things out on their end, like whether it be the venue or whatever organizational things on their end. Um, but obviously that's Atlanta, which for me, I'm in Nashville at the moment, so Atlanta for me is very easy. That's an easy drive. I don't even have to fly. Um, so Atlanta, I'll definitely be there. I've been looking for an excuse to go and hang out with a lot of my friends that live there, and also to like go to a Braves game and do some other things as well. Anyway, so that will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that one. But then also, I believe we have Salt Lake City, the SSG major. I believe we're running that back in August, I think. Which should be the same as last year. I don't know if it's going to be the same venue as last year, but obviously SSG threw a fantastic event in Salt Lake last year. It was one of my favorite events. It was a great time. And shout out to SSG as well. They hooked it up fat for me. They had a whole streaming setup for me. And they had blocks for me to come and create content and stream, and like they really hooked it up. To shout out to SSG for making me feel at home, as well as Ubernick, because I know the boy took care of a lot of that. Um, but yeah, hopefully that's the same for this upcoming SSG event. SSG with all of their things throughout Halo, all their releases, whether it be their content or their merchandise or the events that they run, everything that SSG. I even got the little SSG. You can see it back there. I got the little SSG flag from the event last year. Everything that they do around Halo has been great thus far. So very excited to go back to Salt Lake City. And then obviously in, I believe it's the beginning of October, we have the World Championship in Seattle. So unfortunately, I'll have to miss those first two events, but we should still have Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and Seattle. And then also, one of the things that I've been talking about with my friends is I think there's rumors that the Call of Duty World Championship will be in Dallas this year. I think it moves around a lot. It's been in LA and Vegas mostly, but I think this year it's rumored to be in Dallas, and I think it's rumored to be at the American Airlines Center. So that's another potential trip, another potential event to go to. I would love to go to the Call of Duty World Championship. For those of you that know me, like obviously I'm mainly a Halo guy, but I'm big into Call of Duty esports, and there's a bunch of different games that I love. But Call of Duty esports is probably my big second thing that I watch and pay attention to. So, yeah, it would be very cool to go to that. But yeah, I think let me check my notes here. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that I had written down of what I wanted to talk about. I think we're probably closing in on around like 40 minutes for this episode, which I don't really have a plan for how long these episodes are going to be. I don't know if this is going to be standard or, obviously, like, depending on the week, sometimes we'll have more things to talk about and sometimes we'll have less things to talk about. And essentially this is just an opportunity for me to chill and talk to you guys in like a less formal way. So I'm not really worried about it, however long it ends up being. But yeah, I want y'all to be involved as well. So definitely, like, if you have any questions for me, or maybe things that you would like to see me, like topics that you'd like to see me cover, or things you'd like to see me talk about in next week's episode, definitely, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to leave me a comment down below. But also, if you're listening somewhere else or something like that, be sure to shoot me a tweet or message me on Discord. There's links in every single one of my YouTube videos to my Discord server. Be sure to come by the Twitch stream. We're streaming every single day. It's super vibey over there. And then another thing I want to plug really quickly, which I know this is a lot of things, but my second channel. Second channel is linked in the description of every single video as well. That is where all of my Twitch VODs go. And I play a ton of different games other than just Halo. So I play a ton of single player games. I watch a ton of videos and different stuff. So like if you go to my Twitch VOD channel, not only is there Halo stuff from our streams every day, but also we've been playing a ton of different games. We're going through Hogwarts Legacy and GTA 4 right now. We've been watching the full episodes of the MLG, like the old classic MLG Pro Circuit episodes, where they have little highlight videos for each of the classic tournaments. So I've been watching a ton of stuff and playing a ton of stuff. So definitely be sure to go check that out if you're just interested in essentially more me playing more games. But yeah, I think that's probably about everything we had to cover in this episode. So thank you guys for chilling for this episode of the highlight reel, for episode 2 of the highlight reel, almost 4 years removed from the first one. I hope it was enjoyable, and definitely along with letting me know what you'd like to see me talk about and cover in this, let me know any ways that I can sort of improve and streamline this process. I want to get better at it. I want to hopefully have better quality and maybe have some graphics or some assets for this. Maybe have some better mic quality. Going forward, just be trying to improve and evolve, which is sort of kind of what we've been talking about the whole episode. But yeah, with all that being said, I think I'm going to let y'all go. So I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me a little bit this evening, or whatever time of day it is for y'all, wherever you are. I appreciate you for hanging out with me for a little bit. I hope you're doing great. I hope everything is going well for you. And if not, I hope everything turns around for you. And I hope it starts to improve. Hoping nothing but the best for y'all, and I'm hoping nothing but good vibes for all of y'all. But yeah, all that said, be sure to go check out our shit. If you are listening, be sure to go check us out on YouTube. And also, if you're watching, be sure to go check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on. But yeah, much love. I appreciate y'all once again. I will probably catch y'all right back here at the same time next Tuesday if we adhere to our schedule. So yeah, much love, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all later.